General Anil Chauhan, Chief of Defence Staff, Air Chief Marshal AP Singh, Chief of Air Staff, former chiefs, senior officers, faculty members, mentors of the Warfare and Aerospace Strategy Program, the entire Air Force which is listening out on AFNet, and the others, members from the diplomatic community. A very warm welcome to you all this morning for this event that we are having. I'll just speak a few words about the Warfare and Aerospace Strategy Program, which is designed to cultivate strategic thought, critical thinking, and a curious yet analytical approach that dispassionately sifts the grain from the chaff. This program is based on the pedagogy of extensive reading of about 250 to 300 pages a day, engaging in seminar discussions and brainstorming on the book and subject with an external faculty and a subject matter expertise the next day. The participants are also expected to submit written essays at the culmination of every module. This program has attempted to hone the skills of the participating scholar warriors in critical thinking and equipping them with the knowledge to navigate the contours of modern conflicts successfully. Divided into modules that cover civil-military relations and the higher defense organizations, air power, foundations of strategy, military theory and international relations, irregular warfare, contemporary warfare strategy, space and information warfare and technology. The program has covered the entire canvas from the Peloponnesian War to the Russia-Ukraine conflict to the Israel-Hamas, Iran, and the just ongoing Sindoor conflict close to home. Contemporary challenges and the implications and applicability in the Indian and regional context related to past conflicts and strategies were also discussed. This effort is only a small step for the officers from the Air Force that would hopefully grow into a leap, not only for the men in blue, but for also the others in uniform and the academia. This program, in its fourth iteration, was spread over 15 weeks of contact work apart from the extensive pre-course reading. And the program this year had 12 participants, 10 from the Indian Air Force and 2 from the Indian Navy. The program ran concurrently at the College of Air Warfare and the Center for Air Power Studies here in Delhi. And I am quite sure that the thrust towards the continuous upgradation of the program and improvement of the SWOT will continue in the coming years. We are also fortunate to have amongst us this morning 11 graduates of this program who have done this course earlier, and we have 12 more graduating today. So this tribe is going to grow in the coming years. Now, history is replete with examples of how, when well done, successful strategic leadership can transform even the most seriously disadvantaged situations for the better. Yet, when it fails, it can turn likely victory into certain defeat. And even as armed conflict could be avoided, when it does happen, it is serious business where people not only lose lives, but it can turn the clock back by decades for states which are engaged in the struggle for power, hegemony, resources, and ideology. Leadership matters, and it can always be cultivated by learning from history, gaining knowledge that transforms into wisdom, and subsequently into strategy for the organizations or the nations that are being led. To be successful, leaders need to follow a four-pronged strategy. Firstly, they need to grasp the overall strategic situation in any conflict and craft the appropriate approach to get the big ideas right. And these big ideas must then be communicated effectively to the last man in the organization, which makes them important stakeholders in the conflict. Thirdly, the implementation of the big ideas must be pursued resolutely with determination. And lastly, leaders must have the sagacity and wisdom to refine, adapt, and augment their strategy as they go along. And I think we saw a fine example of this unfolding during Operation Sindoor. Jim Mattis, in his best-selling book, Call Sign Chaos, stated, and I quote, If you haven't read hundreds of books, you are functionally illiterate, and you will be incompetent because your personal experiences alone are not broad enough to sustain you. Any commander who claims he is too busy to read is going to fill body bags with his troops as he learns the hard way. The consequences of incompetence in battle are final, unquote. It is also said that the ultimate auditor of military competence is war, and as we know, all of us know, there are no runners-up in this game. A word for the graduating participants and future aspirants of this program. As you would have learned, extensive reading leads to knowledge, and with knowledge comes wisdom. It is this knowledge and wisdom that will empower you, and it is never ending. Alfred Tennyson said, and I quote, "Knowledge is like the horizon, the closer you get, the further it recedes," unquote. It is important also to understand your position within the organization and have the courage of conviction to speak truth to power. I am also reminded of the quote by George Kennan, who said, "Avoid the treacherous curtain of deference," and this is applicable to staff officers and young people at this seniority. You should be able to empower the commander with options, because when the senior leadership fails, the failure is often systemic, and the people below cannot absolve themselves of the blame. Remember that humility is an important virtue. However, at the same time, empathy should never cloud your judgment, and you need to be firm when you have to be. The importance of the written word cannot be underestimated. More often than not, it is the doctrine, strategy, and well-written statements of case that bring about changes, and it is therefore important to put down your thoughts on paper with clarity and conviction and logic that is easily understood. Unless you practice this on a regular basis, it will not come on its own when you want it. I would like to end with a quote from Field Marshal Alexander, who said, "People do not decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. Get into the habit of reading, it is never too late, and once you do inculcate and indulge in it, I can assure you that you will find it addictive." And before I end, I just have a small announcement to make. We just had the Board of Trustees, annual Board of Trustees meeting of the Center of Air Power Studies last week, where the decision was taken to rename the center from Center of Air Power Studies to the Center for Aerospace, Power and Strategic Studies. This is because of the remit that we are looking at in the nuclear domain as well. Thank you, and Jai Hind.